get there, there's a hand to hold. I believe when your days down here are through, there's a place up there for people like you.
5 minutes going down from the hour of 11 o'clock here on Roots FM 96.1. It's now time for St. Andrew South Beat. And this morning, we have Sergeant Alex Bloomfield and also Sergeant Tanya Lane. Blessed morning, blessed morning.
Morning time to you, Owen. A very pleasant morning, listeners, and welcome to the program St. Andrew South Beat. You're tuned into Roots 96.1 FM. My name is Alex Bloomfield, and I will be your host this morning, and my co-host is
Tanya Lane.
So, before we get into the program, I want to invite you, our listeners, to participate in this program. But nonetheless, the St. Andrew South Beat is a special program designed to explore issues affecting the St. Andrew South Division and you, our valid residents. We'll be focusing on breaking the barriers of several issues. For today, we will continue to look at safety for the Yuletide season, but in particular, we want to look at how important the neighborhood watches and the consultative committees are within neighborhoods. As also, we want to look at mental health, because during the season, you find families dealing with a lot of issues. And Tanya, I want to look at mental health, a part of the program this morning, for more than one reason. I don't know if you are a internet guru or you follow tweets on Instagram and Twitter about this 40-year-old influencer that took his life. Tweets? Right.
Yeah, I saw it.
And
I saw it.
many persons is asking the question, why? How could he? He's always, I remember him from Dancing with the Stars, if my memory serves me right. And he appears to be a very jovial, happy individual. And sometimes we appears to be happy, jovial individuals, and many persons looking on would believe that life is great with us. But our problems can be hidden by the cheerful and pleasant smiles. That does not mean anything, and we appears to be okay. Many of us, Tanya, would have a lot of hidden pain beneath those grins and those smiles. We may lift our head high and walk with our shoulders all open up like a flamingo. But the occasional mental storms that is brewing within our minds, our soul is marred and scarred by these many issues that we may face on a daily basis. We can be so broken from time to time, and of course many of us don't have that outlets to which we can go to someone to speak to about how we are feeling. I am no trained psychologist, I am no trained psychiatrist, but mental issues or mental health is faced with a lot of us Jamaicans. And from time to time, when persons take their life, we look on and ask the question, Why? How could they? But the truth is, none of us, Tanya, knows what individuals
We're going through.
are going through on a daily basis. And it is sad when I read some of the comments that persons may write or tweet. From time to time, it is so unkind. I believe it is callous. I believe it is inhumane. But hey, I am not here to cast any form of judgment on anyone. Because the truth is, all of us go through our issues. All of us have our problems. But not all of us is fortunate enough to have an outlet to which we can let off the steam or the burdens. What say you, Tanya?
As it relates to mental health issue, there are different aspects of it, Alex. And if you look at what does the Mental Health Act applies for us, the Mental Health Act in 1983 tells the people with mental health problem that their rights are regarding assessment and treatment in the hospital. That's one of the things that I am 100% sure of. One of the things is, do we have the persons, even if the government make the provision for them to get the help for quite some time, the question is, are they have the state of mind to go and help themselves? So I believe that one of the things that you have to have that closeness with somebody or a family member that can assist you in getting the help. Because even though the help is there to give them and help them, then they themselves are not aware that they are in need of the help. And it takes a lot. It takes a lot. People have different culture in terms of how they were brought up and how they were cultured. Some persons are stronger than some in terms of making intelligent decisions for themselves to do things. Persons can hear in their head things saying, and then they can have the courage enough not to do it. Some persons don't have it, hence they yield to that, and we don't know what caused person to do this. Maybe some persons can't hold on anymore. But one of the things that I always say, and I will say to anybody who is out there who is feeling that when you do that, you take a lot of people with you, because a lot of persons, whether you believe it or not, relatives and friends, they need you as much as all you think that they don't. They need you more than you know. And when you go, you take a lot of people with you. And I want them to remember that, especially persons who have children and stuff like that, because it affects them till the day that they pass themselves. So it's a big issue. It hurts. It not only hurts just the person who is gone, but the persons that they left behind, because they're left behind to deal with that aspect of it. The principles, they said there are 5 powers, 5 principles of the Mental Health Act, and the guiding principles: least restrictive options and maximize independence, empowerment and involvement, respect and dignity, purpose and effectiveness, and efficiency and equity. And what you mentioned, that persons are tweeting about the situation and so forth, but there are principles that relates to somebody with that challenge, because it's a challenge. Like anybody who takes drugs or any other thing is a challenge, and they need help. And if it is that they don't get help, then the act within themselves will actually comes out. So I don't think I have any distasteful thing to say about someone who commit that act. What I will do is to plead to persons out there to get help as much as you can. Go and see what is happening with you. Talk to somebody, because you must know somebody that you have some confidence in, and talk to them about your feelings, and talk to somebody. If you feel that way, don't keep it to yourself, because it's only going to get larger and larger and larger within self until you commit the act. So that's one of the things that I would encourage persons to do. Like I said, Alex, it's a sticky situation, and it takes a lot from the professionals to guide persons, because they themselves have to listen to the trauma, and sometimes you have to listen to the persons and say nothing, because you don't understand unless you are actually going. You can say you understand, but you don't unless you're actually going through the situation that the person is going through. You don't act. You don't know what they're going through, so you can't tell them that I know. You don't know. You don't know.
You don't know the gravity of the situation
and how they're feeling.
Because somebody once told me that there's a thin line between sanity and insanity, and it is right true. Well, I don't know about your mental capacity. So Owen, I am asking you to maybe to call some backup, because she's armed and I don't know her mental state right now, because see, I just mentioned that there's a thin line between sanity and insanity, and I really don't want her to get off with on me today.
Look at you.
So, but we bottle so much feelings, inside of us,
ourselves,
in our hearts and in our minds, because the truth is, my grandmother once told me that the only person in this world that don't have a problem is a dead man.
They have problems because things eating them.
Well, them not feel that, but from day to day we go through different struggles, and I put something on my status this morning to say that God is an awesome God, because there are many times that I'm faced and I'm in a certain situation, some unseen circumstances which him really pulled me out of, that I don't even understand how I got myself out of it. And a friend messaged me this morning to say, I read that on your status, and the truth is, it is true, because God pulls us out of some unseen circumstances. And she was straight in a situation that life sometimes is not easy. The struggles
are real.
They are real. The struggles are real, and sometimes when we see persons with mental health that is gone overboard, and they're walking out on the streets and they're eating out of dustbins, not every one of us has that strong will to pull ourselves out of these situations.
Alex, let me remind them about also about the section 44 of the Mental Health Act. What says what are human rights for people with mental health issues, and that's one of the things that we want them persons to know, that the laws of the land make provision for same. And section 44 said all persons have the right to the best available mental health care, which shall be part of the health and social care system. All persons with a mental illness or who are being treated as such a person shall be treated with humanity and respect. So it is not the government, like I said, Alex, before, they make provision for persons to get care. So I don't want person to be at home and sitting with their loved ones and believe that they're not care.
There's no care for them.
There's care for it, and there are provision to assist them. So when you see somebody is talking out of context, don't take it lightly. Get help. Once they start today, don't wait until next week, because it keep getting bigger and and bigger. It's like a wound that you don't fix. Right? So that is one of the things that I want person to listen to as it relates to the mental health, that there are provision to get help. So don't sit down home and say I'm mad. All right? Because that's how some people treat it, and it only get worse if you see somebody having some challenges and you say I'm mad, yeah, man. No. There is
seek the necessary help for them.
Get help.
Seek the necessary help, because there's treatments and persons can come around, because I mean, not many of us can find the solutions to our problems, be it mentally, be it emotionally, and be it physically, any one of the alleys. Because like one of my friends said, life is rough. Life is tough. You know, I mean, the Yuletide season is upon us, and many families would have been making provisions to spend time with their families. Many persons would be out shopping. Many persons would be cleaning out their houses, changing the curtains, looking for the best sheet set to put on the bed, the best comforters and all. Some persons even plan the menus already and who they're going to invite over for Christmas. But on the other hand, you have individuals who are so frustrated of this time of the year, because when they look around them and they see persons, you know, putting things together, and they don't even have the first cent to rub on the necks, it affects the mental capacity. It affects the mental state of those individuals. Worst if they have children, who's relying on them.
You know how hard it is to sit and watch a loved one depreciate from that disease, and you believe that you're not able to help them, but I put it to them that they're able to help based on the fact that provision is made for them. I don't want them to be sitting there looking at them as if they can't help them. You can help them, and you are the first person to recognize that something is wrong. Once they're talking out of context, then you need to have an intelligent conversation with them, and if it is not going in the direction that you're heading, then automatically you know that you have to seek help for the individual. So no one should sit home and watch their loved ones depreciate from that dreadful disease, because and you know what, I heard, I don't know if there's any scientific evidence of it, that they said if you're mad off of your own, you won't come back.
Well,
you sit down and think about all your troubles and your trials, and then our saying, our culture saying is same, him mad himself. But I don't think the person or the individual mad him or herself accordingly. I believe that life,
the struggles of life is real. The struggles of life is real. But I want to encourage persons out there, persons who may be listening to this program at this very moment, that you are not alone. You are not alone, because there's always that one person who we can go to and just vent. And sometimes we have, as individuals, we have to stop and listen. Stop and listen to individuals. I remember 2 weeks ago, I was on the station property, and I saw this lady sitting outside the waiting area. And Tanya, I was about to pass her, but something jogged me and said to ask her if she was getting through. And I said, "Ma'am, good afternoon, how are you doing?" She said, "Officer, I'm not as good as you." And I stopped to ask her, yes.
There's something wrong.
Maybe. And I just maybe stopped to see what I can do for 5 minutes. And the 5 minutes turned out to about 2.5 hours
wanted to talk.
Worth of talking.
She wanted to talk.
She just wanted an avenue. She just wanted someone to talk to. Because, during the discourse, she said, "I feel as if I'm going to explode. I feel as if this is where it ends." Because the truth is, officer, if I don't get somebody to talk to today, me not sure if you're gonna see me tomorrow. And
Wow.
you know, we have to take time out of our day for our day sometime for individuals who are faced with a lot of issues. Sometimes we maybe say that, Lord, we're busy, we have too much things to do, but we have to spend time because we don't know
What's going on?
and you don't know our day will come too. There are many days that we need individuals to talk to. There are many days that I feel as if I'm going to lose it.
I talk to myself, but I'm not mad.
Me can't justify that situation. Well, me don't know if you talk to yourself because you're not mad and because you're a
problem
police
is that-
officer.
no, the problem is
Maybe
that
you're
when
having
you
your
start
staff meeting.
Eh?
Maybe you're having your own staff meeting in your head. So you talking to yourself, and or maybe you're debriefing
No, sir.
staff in your head. So
No worries. When you start answer back to the talking,
but me talk to myself and answer back sometime, Tanner. So that means I'm a
so
mad.
you see the insanity and the sanity come.
Well, Oh yeah, nobody can tell me. So them no post some question to themselves. Answer it. Of course, a lot of us do it in our bathrooms.
Yes, the sanity and insanity.
I don't know what to call it, but there's no proof to say that when you ask.
So you answer back?
Yes, I'm answer myself. Me answer, of course. What I'm answering myself.
No, that need professional assistance.
Well, it might be true, you know. It may be true.
Alex,
it may be true.
Me talk, but me no answer back.
Well, you're afraid to answer yourself because you don't want to tell yourself say you're mad.
No, Alex. Me no want to answer back because somebody more for answer, but I just thinking aloud. So it's more like thinking aloud.
Denial, Owen. It's called denial. It is all denial. Because she talk to herself and ask herself question. But I said to herself, me not answer back, because if I answer back,
Owen, let me ask you a question. Owen, you ever ask yourself a question and answer back?
Of course. Me want see the person who want come tell me say them ask himself a question. That's denial. Me ask
answer because
many
know
questions.
the answer.
Why? So why you pose a question?
I'm thinking out
Why you
loudly.
pose a question?
I'm just thinking and it comes out loudly.
Well, me don't know. Well, you seem to have a lot of staff meeting by yourself because you seem to talk to yourself quite often. So
Lying to ourselves.
very much lying to herself,
So you
Carol.
answer to Carol.
Of course.
Ask myself and me answer even before the question.
Thank you very much. That means they were crazy.
No, man, you guys are answering.
No, you're in denial. You just feel as if you say, "Oh, me gonna ask myself the question."
No.
But I'm gonna answer back because my man.
No. Me answer.
so.
No, me will sit down and say, but where am I go? But I'm not gonna answer. Where would I answer?
So when you ask yourself where am I go for? If you want to know where am I go, you ask him where am I
So
go.
ask him. It just come out loudly.
We all do it. We all
Hello.
ask ourselves the questions
Turn
and
that
answer
double
back.
upside down.
I don't
One.
care. I don't care what you want to say.
Carol, in one
It's
eye
a very
you.
healthy thing.
Thank you very much, Carol.
Inside of you,
You're going and that time to go mad you.
But if you have answer feed,
It's that thing
I
there.
just think when you talk
It
to
is
yourself,
okay to talk to
it just
yourself.
think
It is
aloud.
okay to answer back the questions. Nothing wrong. Maybe where you're gonna get mad is when you bottle it up and you keep it all inside of you and there's no solution,
No,
there's
Alex,
no
Masu,
outlet,
ask
there's
somebody.
nothing. When you're mad?
No. But so ask somebody.
When you
just-
start walking
it
eat
just
at a
come out
garbage
loudly
pan, no.
At that time.
No. Persons
sir.
out there,
Can't manage you now.
talk to yourself if you should talk to yourself, but we encourage you
Don't
to
answer
find
here.
an outlet, find someone to talk to.
Who can assist you?
Who can assist you and give you good advice. Get
Yeah.
yourself in some social clubs and activities. And be a part of a church, be a part of a movement, be a part of a citizens association. But we are at that juncture of the program where we have to take a commercial break. If you are tuned into Roots 96.1 FM, don't move that dial tone. We'll be right back.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. If you give a little more than you take, and if you try to fix more then you break.
New Budget Supplies massive price buster now on. Want to redo that kitchen? Retile that old floor? Stop that leaking roof? Make over the bathroom? It's now or never. White toilet from $14,999. 5-gallon paint from $6,599. Gypsum board $1,749. 50% off UPVC French windows. 10% off kitchen sinks, water tanks, and pumps. 195 Hackleburg Road. Telephone 923-4560. New Budget Supplies. Always the best prices.
Make money now with local City and Guilds and ABE endorsed certificates and Distinction College. Start new online and face-to-face classes very soon in our Make Money Now career courses and get qualified jobs worldwide or start your own business in practical pediatric, geriatric, and psychiatric nursing, phlebotomy and pharmacy technician, early childhood education, child care, cashiering, call center, event planning, receptionist, customer service, housekeeping, waitering, food preparation, bartending, cake baking, plumbing, motor vehicle, electrical installation, air conditioning, makeup, hairdressing, nail technician, and cosmetology. No subjects required, no age limit. Register this week and get City and Guilds Maths and English classes for free. Call us at 3564167.
Freedom is coming, freedom is coming, freedom is coming, oh yes I know.
Tune in this and every Sunday from 9:30 to 10:30 a.m. to Moments of Freedom, the weekly broadcast of the Riverton Meadows and Mamby Park Baptist Churches, with host pastor Reverend Sidney Hall. Join us with opened minds and hearts and be blessed.
I'm free from the fear.
The Ararat Evangelistic Association presents Walk Free here on Roots 96.1 FM in a new time, 4:30 p.m. to 5 p.m. On Walk Free, you will hear life-changing testimonies, inspirational messages, and music to encourage you. Remember, tune in to Walk Free. Listen every Sunday from 4:30 p.m. to 5 p.m. And if you've missed it, tune in to the rebroadcast on Wednesdays at 6 a.m. Tune in and be blessed.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. If you give a little more than you take, and if you try to fix more than you break.
Welcome back again. This is St. Andrew South Beat. If you're just joining us, remember to call us on 876-372-8446 or WhatsApp us on 876-225-9478 and share your thoughts on today's discussion. You can also listen live on rootsjamaica.com. Go follow us on Facebook at Roots FM Jamaica. Follow us on Instagram at Roots 96.1 FM _Jamaica and on Twitter at Roots _96 FM. This program is brought to you by New Budget Supplies, always the best prices. Alex, we were on the topic of mental health issue. We will do a summary of what transpired. We tell you that mental health really in Jamaica, the Act passed in 1997. It provides an avenue for managing the affairs of persons who can no longer do so for themselves.
Right.
So they would have passed that act. What rights does the Mental Health Act protect? Your rights to seek medical attention and how to get help from it. Your right to be discharged from your section by your responsible doctor and your nearest relative. The consent of treatment rules and when you can be given treatments against your wish. So once you have that situation, then the laws of the land make provision for someone to take dominion over you, even as an adult. It means that your close relative, friends, or family member would have to take up that responsibility because you're unable to make intelligent decisions on your own. We would have seen our loved ones or friends or family who would have lost it. Even within our JCF, we would have seen police also would have lost it. And it's this condition of life sometimes that allow us to reach that stage. We're saying that with the help from the professionals who are trained to guide you and do so, get that help. If the persons you have the right, the government have given right to individual to help this person, family member, so forth, help them as best as you can when you see the situation coming forward. Alex.
Right. So, again, Tanya would have outlined, give you a briefing as it relates to mental health and how we treat individuals who are suffering from this illness. But I want to close this part of the program as it relates to mental health again to advise and to implore individuals to speak out. Find someone at all times to talk to. It is important to find that outlet. Find a friend, find a neighbor, find a church family to talk to. It is unhealthy to bottle all of that emotions and all of that feelings. We all have problems in life. Sitting and thinking about the problem does not solve the problems. We all have to think of a solution. If you can't solve the problem today, put it off for tomorrow. And if tomorrow comes and you can't solve it, put it off for the next day.
My mom used to say, this too will pass away.
This too shall pass. And sometimes when we sit, and frustrate ourselves, when we get over it, when we get a solution, we say, is really this what you sit down and send up a blood pressure about? And don't forget to pray. Prayers move mountains. So we want to use the next 20 minutes to look at the Yuletide season and to look at neighborhood watches in our communities. If you don't have one, I encourage you to form neighborhood watches. And for those communities that have neighborhood watches, continue to think of innovative ways to improve your neighborhood watches, because neighborhood watches create a great sense of security and it reduces the fear of crime. It builds bonds with your neighbors and people look out for one another. It also stimulates awareness within neighborhoods.
It strengthens
community relationships. It reduces the risk of becoming a crime or a victim of crime. And it reduces the physical, the financial, and the psychological cost of crime.
In other words, Alex, it's a community-based self-help program.
It is.
So it happened within the community itself.
Right.
So it is the community people that form their own police body. Right? You're not gazetted as a police officer, but it's a community.
You're the eyes.
Yes, of your own
community.
And every neighbor, every community have a right to create one. You don't need any. All you need to create one is the community safety and security section of the station within the community that you live. So, and Alex is in St. Andrews South Division. So if it is that you want to create a neighborhood watch within your community, then you can call Alex at
876-874-6318. If you're not able to get me there, you can call me at 923-7112 or 923-7111.
Give them that number again.
It's the station numbers are 923-7111. That's Huntsby. 923-7112 or personal number, it's 876-874-6318. We'll be more than willing to help you to form those neighborhood watches.
You call Alex, and he's one of the person who is the mastermind as it relates to creating neighborhood watches. It's a good program. It's a good community-based program.
It is.
That helps to prevent it's more it's a preventive measure program that you have less crime, because the community, especially St. Andrews South that we serve, we love to keep. I recognize that we love to keep a lot of events. If it is that you want to have safe events, it is good to create that neighborhood. What it does, you better believe it, yes or no. If you create a neighborhood watch and you have good communication with the citizens within the community, when you're keeping the event and everybody know, maybe they won't even call the police to come and noise abatement act, etc., because the camaraderie is there and you're able to communicate. If there is crime within the space, then you communicate, and then you can communicate with the police and hand over the person to the police. Can you imagine if you all could do that and create that safe zone?
Less crime.
And then you'll be able to keep. You just keep. Normally we come by 12 and 2 o'clock to turn off. If we probably, nobody's calling.
Yeah, because I say the truth is, when we live as a community, we take into consideration the next individual's feelings, and we know that the Noise Abatement Act is a provision that is made to restrict noise within communities. And then when you start to blast the music and too loudly, then persons are going to call the police. When you have neighborhood watches and you're going to have your events and you send out your flyers and you talk to your neighbors, say, hey, look, when we're going to have an event, maybe for 3 or 4 hours, we'll be playing some
and
music. Yeah, of course, persons are, because every Jamaican love to party. Whether it's a family affair, whether it's a birthday party for a child or an adult, all of us likes a party. But it's the consideration that most persons don't take into factor when they're keeping these events that offend other individuals.
And it offend persons because sometimes some persons have a medical condition.
Right.
Some persons cannot
deal with the sound, the box, them a boom off them. Some persons
are ill.
Yeah, you have to take certain things into consideration. But apart from the music, we want to focus on the safety and security of your neighborhood. You know, last week we gave some tips as it relates to how to keep your neighborhood safe during the Yuletide season, and we want to continue along that line because many persons still not adhering to to some of these tips. Because even 3 days ago I was going home and I was driving down my avenue and I saw where my neighbors would have purchased some items, and of course I could tell what was purchased
because they put the
big box out the door, the big much-inch television, and me know say buy the television, yes, nice, and me know say buy a big double-door fridge with a cooler at the bottom, excellent. But these are some of the things that attracts criminals. Dispose of those boxes properly, cut them up, put them in a nice garbage bag, and conceal the stuff. Because when you put out that me just buy one 72-inch TV and me just buy one double door 200,000 at fridge, what is that telling criminals? Oh, this is a
money.
perfect target to tear down,
for breaking,
to break and enter and take your things. So we want to encourage our neighbors to dispose of your goodies properly. Yeah, man, cut up the TV boxes and break down the fridge boxes that you would have purchased, the component set boxes. If you just buy a MacBook, don't throw the box like that, or your laptop boxes, don't throw them out like that. Cut them up in small pieces and put them in a garbage bag and dispose of them properly. We have to take our own securities in our hands. Safety begins with you.
Does your community have a neighborhood watch?
Does it?
Does your community have a neighborhood watch? That's one of the questions you need to ask yourself. If so, join it. And if not, organize one. And I told you before, Alex is here, so organize one. Neighborhood watch programs help everyone keep home security at the forefront of their minds.
It's important.
Such also help neighbors bond in order to create stronger and safer community. So that's one of the things that we want you to take into consideration. Is the question is, does your community have a neighborhood watch? If it is that they do have one, remember to join it. If they don't have one, remember to create one with Alex, who is available at this time and will guide you through the process. I think when you create a neighborhood watch, if my memory serves me correct, you get a certificate, correct?
Yes, you get a certificate to say that we are an established neighborhood watch. And you see, you have to liaise with the police officers and the police station close to your neighborhood watch. I mean, even though I work in community and safety, Tanya, and we have over 35 communities to which we traverse on a daily basis. How many neighborhoods we have? We had 33 active neighborhood watch in the St. Andrews South. But we're down to only 10 active neighborhood watch. Because you see, what I realize is that most persons don't want to be associated with the neighborhood watch because they believe that it's an informal situation, and it is not. And again, it's proactive policing. It's for your own thing. And if you don't want to sit a neighborhood watch, call it a consultative committee then. Call it your consultative committees, where a group of you come together as citizens and be the eye of your community. Because I mean, many neighborhood watches now changing their name to consultative committees, but it's the same procedures and action that they're doing.
The same thing. And then what you don't want, you spend millions of dollars that you would have worked to create your home, and then you allow persons to come in and spend 2 seconds and devalue
your community,
everything. So you have a role and responsibility to make sure that you keep the community safe in every way that you can. So one of the good way of doing that is to form that neighborhood watch program or the consultative committee program that if you want to change the name of it, and you meet once a month. It must put
aside at least once a month to deal with the affairs of your community, because communities are faced with so many issues.
You paint like it's Labor Day. You have projects together. You put money together. You don't wait on the government to fix certain
it's your
things.
Community. Don't allow persons to come in and devalue your community, because I mean, we want all to live in a safe and secure environment. We have to look at how we keep our properties. We have to look at how our neighbors view things.
They said, why? Some person might ask, why do we need neighborhood watch? The question is, we as police officers and patrol may not know what is normal in your street, and may not recognize a stranger in your community, because we don't know who or what live within the community. So we can't recognize that this person is actually a stranger within the community.
Yeah, because you have persons migrating out of other communities and going into other communities to create havoc. You understand?
So the neighborhood watch persons are in a position to observe and report anything of suspicious nature to us, the police. That is why you form that neighborhood watch, so that you can report things to us. Because when we drive past and we see Thomas Delarue and Company Limited outside, we are assuming that they are a part of the the community, right? Because we don't know them. We don't know
who live in your community. But you know your community. So you are the best person to guide the police and to tell us what is in your communities.
I will give them an example, Alex. As we go about our daily routine as police, we have the opportunity to casually observe the neighborhood, such as our observation and so forth. But that is not
It's not sufficient. It's not enough. Because we can't merely just we act sometime on our suspicions, and we act based on how persons may behave, but we're not going to get it correct at all times. We don't know what is happening next door, and within communities there are so much illegal activities that is happening in communities that is not reported to the police. You know, you have your good community, and then all of a sudden you see somebody move there, and then them turn it in a sidewalk garage. Then it brings down the value of your community, and then the garage starts out as a simple 1 or 2 car fixing, and then very soon it's a 3 or 4 old car just dash on the sidewalk, and then persons use the opportunity to steal cars and to bring it there to scrap it and to sell the parts. You have we there's so many things that we come across in communities, Tanya. We see illegal activities like persons doing oil trade in communities.
Alex,
there's so much illegal activities, but neighbors know and they refuse to report it.
All right, persons don't understand that there all right. Even on the Community Act, you know, there's a time for fire to be lit.
Most persons don't know that.
They don't know that, because you can't just get up and decide that
you're gonna burn bush.
I'm going to burn bush. I'm going to burn bush after 6. I'm going to burn bushes after 7. And there's a reason for that, not to do that. And one of the reasons for not to do that is to recognize that if it is 6 and 7 and it's dark and you can't see, then the fire can go all over and create problems.
Right.
So persons don't understand the importance of not doing it. They probably think that the police,
it's normal.
It's normal, or the police are fight against them. But when you close your door and you leave fire burning outside when you're unable to see because it's dark, and the breeze, the wind suddenly take it all over the place, how do you justify you catching somebody's house on fire,
because of your negligence?
No, we want them to understand that the JCF cannot effectively protect life and property without the active support and cooperation of the people it serves. Every resident should participate. You notice I said should participate in a neighborhood watch. We are telling the people out there in the St. Andrew South Division that it is a good thing to have within your space. It helps you to have a better community. It helps you to keep events, whether you believe it, yes or no. You see those dances that you want to keep, it helps you to have that, because when you come together as a team and you support us to protect you, and you come to us to say that
we want to have an event, and then you know what the neighborhood watch can tell us, somebody can come to us for a recommendation. The president of the neighborhood watch can say, which you're a part of, or somebody to say that John Brown is a good community leader and he or she helps within the space. So even if we don't know you personally, somebody from your neighborhood watch who liaise with the police officers, because what you find out within these neighborhood watches is that you have persons that are justices of the peace who are part of the neighborhood watches. You have police officers who are part of the police are part of the neighborhood watches, and it may be so that you have a police officer who's a part of your neighborhood watch who works down the road from the station from you. So when you want a recommendation, or a citizen need a recommendation, you don't have these challenges on issues to find police officers to write recommendations. And the truth is,
Go ahead,
when you come for the recommendations and we say that we cannot pen a recommendation for you because we don't know you, or you cannot, we can't get a substantial reference from somebody who knows you to say, yes, you're a part of my community, this person is a part of our neighborhood, or this person live in our community, and this person is of good standing. And then when the police can't write a recommendation, they say that we're hard.
It's not really hard. And one of the things that they need to recognize that at this stage, we look at Vision 2030, where we are working together to create better communities and build our Vision 2030. Vision 2030 for making the Jamaica the place of choice to live, work, raise family, and do business. The Neighborhood Watch will help us to reach Vision 2030. It will help the Jamaica the place of choice to live, work, raise family, and do business. You must try your best. It is so I can't help but to emphasize the importance of creating that program within your community. It helps you to keep the big dance that you love to keep. It gives you that mileage, because then we are able to communicate in terms of what is happening. You can come to the police to say that we want to keep an event. The community is keeping an event, and you get the police support. If half of the community is keeping the event and the other half is creating violence, then we're not there to say the good have to suffer for the bad, because you cannot be having challenges, negative things happening within the community, and we the police allow you to keep every night. It can't happen. We are going to slow you down, because what is going to happen when you do that, then you're going to hurt people who don't know what is happening around them,
and you are inviting criminalities within and to be a part of these communities. And then when a community start have the shooting and the murder incidents, we the police officers consider your community to be unsafe, and we're going to block you from having your events, because we consider it a hot spot, and we consider those communities to be unsafe, and we can't afford for you to have any form of events in these communities, because we don't want any murder and the shooting. We don't want to see any yellow tape being drawn. So we have to take the precautionary measures to ensure that we keep the citizens of these communities safe.
Alice, before you end, remember now, opportunities play a big role in enable people to commit crime, and never more so than burglaries. Most domestic burglaries are committed by opportunities. Alex told you that early on. Criminal will look for homes that leave out their boxes. Alex told you, leave out the things that you buy. Those things are called opportunities that you allow criminal to come and be within your space. We're saying to you that do not provide that opportunity for any criminal within your home.
So we want to close with a part of the phrase from our opening theme song. If you give a little more than you take, try and make the change that you want. We want to say thank you to all the persons who tune in to Roots 96.1 FM. We want to thank you, our listeners, for being a part of this broadcast. We want to thank Mr. Owen Brown, who is our engineer and technical operator for this morning. We want to say, from wherever you tune in from, listener, we appreciate you being a part of this broadcast. Join us again next week right here on Roots 96.1 FM for another episode of the program St. Andrew South Beat. I am Alex Bloomfield, and my co-host is none other than
Tanya Lane.
Walk good. See you next week.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. If you give a little more than you take,